Do you think that's harmless? Or does it compromise the gospel in any way? And if it does, in which ways?
I don't think it's really harmless. I
Mhm.
understand, I think, where Christians are coming from when they try to kind of weld evolution and the Bible or Christianity together. It really, I think, boils down to peer pressure and propaganda.
Mm.
And we can all be susceptible to that sometimes. We may not like to admit it because it makes us kind of feel foolish,
Yeah.
but the truth is that there has been such a concerted effort, such a organized, targeted agenda that would, like we've already addressed,
Yes.
even into our time now, against the authority of the Bible. And it has kind of infiltrated to the point where Christians who were educated, especially if they're educated in a secular system, public schools and things like that, everything about science was taught to them so matter-of-factly and so completely impregnated with evolutionary assumptions and ideas that they come away feeling like, this is what my science teacher said, and this is science, right? So then people are afraid to look foolish, and they think that, well, I want people to see me as a person of faith who also thinks, and so then they try to figure out, okay, well, so I can't throw science out the window, and so how do I make them work together? And so that's very roughly, I think, how theistic evolution kind of has developed, because people feel like they have to accept what science says, but they still want to accept the Bible. And so they try to fuse the two. And so I can understand the rationale. I like to refer to a children's story to
We love
illustrate
that.
what's going on. And I actually brought the book. It is ancient and it's dilapidating, but I
Lovely.
love
So
this. In fact, look at the
cute.
poor faces even torn
Oh
off on here. But the Emperor's New Clothes. If you don't know the story, if your audience doesn't know the story, I won't read the whole thing obviously right now. But
okay.
the idea is that there were these deceivers who came to an emperor once, and they claimed to be able to weave this magical fabric if he would give them gold thread and things like that, and set them up with a loom, and they could weave this magic fabric that if he wore it, he could figure out who the wise people were and who the fools were in his kingdom.
Okay.
And they said that anyone who's a fool would not even be able to see this clothing, but the wise
Right.
people would see what a beautiful garment he's wearing. And so they pantomime all their working away at the loom with this invisible thread and this invisible garment, and ultimately put this magic garment on the king. And all along the way, he sends people in to check on the progress, and they see nothing. And so they say, well, I don't want the king to know that I'm a fool.